So, what does it mean to work towards a lifelong pursuit of intercultural competence? In my view, which is quite traditional in the classical sense, is to pursue certain habits of acting called virtues. I will present those that I think personally relevant while asking you, the viewer, to consider a few of them that you may already possess and some others that you may want to pursue as you seek to become more interculturally competent. As I've said elsewhere, seeking intercultural competence as a set of skillful actions builds intercultural awareness and neutral communication habits and behaviors. These are the virtues that we can see in action. A lifetime of this may result in intercultural wisdom because the highest attainment of a lifelong diplomat is that. But minimally, the achievement of an advanced interculturally competent critical thinking ability, perhaps like not unlike my own ability. In a previous presentation, we considered Aristotle's list of secular virtues, and what follows are those terms that I have extracted and that I consider to be relevant to intercultural context and could lead to a reflection of intercultural virtues. So if we take these seven from Aristotle and place intercultural in front of them, what would that look like? Let's consider each of these one by one. Intercultural friendliness manifests itself in openness and empathy for the experience of others crossing cultures, maybe with you or into your own culture as well. This might also be expressed in a welcoming demeanor to the strangers that we meet in our day to day life. Do you feel like this is something that you already model in your own behavior, or is it something that you may need to pursue? Personally, I still need to develop this virtue to a large extent. Intercultural magnanimity is to assume the best about the other, whether in your own country or abroad. Being generous with your time and support and helping others adjust to your way of life may be expressions of this virtue. And remember that generosity takes many forms in different cultures. Assuming the best is not a problem for me. How about you? Intercultural courage, also known as intercultural fortitude or guts, is the courage to go and reside among the other and engage with them abroad. Living with your leaving your first culture to reside among others in a second culture takes a great deal of courage. How are you with this virtue? Intercultural temperance is seeking to adopt interculturally neutral behavior, not going native. Knowing who you are before you go abroad as a cultural person is important to this virtue. So, temperance is behavioral moderation when crossing cultures. One tempers one's reactions and controls one's behavior when faced with challenges to one's identity and one's sense of self. Is this something you already have, or does it even make your list of important virtues to pursue? Intercultural patience is perhaps an extension of temperance because anxious emotion is tempered in a calm confidence in knowing that not knowing, not understanding, and not being in control cross culturally is normal. Patience also means that you understand that it is just a matter of time before you adjust, they adjust, or we find a level of intercultural harmony that works for all. This virtue may be one of the more important ones for waging peace. Do you still need to learn intercultural patience? Inter- Intercultural justice is a two-way street. It means acknowledgement of self and the needs of the self and a recognition of differences while seeking the good of the other and the other's dignity. It consists of extending the duty of care that extends from the dignity of the other to all others. How will you attain this virtue if you think you still need it or want to pursue it? Finally, intercultural truthfulness extends from justice. It ascribes to virtue and conflict those elements that belong to it. Also, truthfulness is pursued by acknowledging our own need to see through the eyes of others, chiefly by seeking to know them, and recognize how our own personal values differ from theirs. Do you sense any need for this? These intercultural virtues really represent a way of taking intercultural competence forward in one's life. You might take another set of Aristotle's virtues and adjust them for intercultural competence as I did above, seeking them for yourself, or you can leave this altogether. It doesn't hurt, though, to spend some time thinking about intercultural competence and its role in your own future at this point. Because for me, waging peace is a conscious effort to grow peace around us intentionally. It can start with us and our own attainment of peace for ourselves and extend outward, or it can start way out there with us trying to develop certain virtues or habits of acting in an interculturally competent way to foster intentional peace with the distant, culturally different other, so that we have the skills to do so locally and perhaps achieve it finally in our own hearts. This is how I've had to approach it, still with the hope of achieving that internal peace for myself while I still have time to achieve it. Whichever way you'd like to proceed will depend on your own personal engagement with these ideas presented. But waging peace is a good pursuit, one that requires interculturally competent people to work towards it, as peace is not accidental, but intentionally achieved through personal and collective action. While I use these videos as presentation for the courses I teach on intercultural competence, they are also freely available for anybody to watch. So please feel free to like or subscribe to the channel as you see fit and to share it. Your feedback is valuable to me, and I always like to make sure that things are clear. So anything that is not clear, put in the comments. And may you find the peace that you are looking for.